Give me a size comparison, Connor. What is that size?
God, I don't even know. And the density of it. Help. I can't conceptualize that.
What is that? What is it? Something that's that size? Maybe like
a mini trampoline. I was thinking
2/3 of a dishwasher from the bottom up.
It's heavier than a dishwasher. I don't know how to compare. It's huge.
It's big. Hello, everybody. Welcome to World's Wildest.
Hello. Welcome.
This is going to be our most depressing episode yet.
I mean, I've got a nice spin on the end of it.
That's great, because I don't.
Oh, okay. Well,
my research was so sad this week.
Yeah, it was pretty depressing. But I think there's a chance here, because it's the world's most endangered, or the world's most
fewest.
Fewest.
We're on World's Fewest this week. So Connor and I are going to talk about some of the most endangered animals in the world. Turns out there's a lot of them.
Yep. This was a viewer. I saw it on a YouTube video that they wanted to say. Comment.
Yeah, you guys have been making some really great suggestions in the comments. One of the suggestions I read today was world's flattest, which I think is so funny.
That's a cool spin.
We could do it. I don't know. Give us whatever. Bad ideas.
Seen like world's bluest. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
That's sick.
It's a unique take on it. I like it.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're still a new podcast, but the support has been amazing, both on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Patreon. We have extra content on Patreon, and our Tier 3 subscribers are getting bookmarks that I make. Okay, Connor's going to show you the bookmark. I draw them every month, and then we print them, and we sit here in our little studio, and we round out the corners and we print them and they're beautiful, and then we ship them to our Tier 3 subs. So if you want a bookmark every month that says World's Wildest that I draw, audio listeners, it's really good. I do a good job. Connor, rate
She's
the
very
bookmark.
talented, 10 out of 10.
Thank you. So check us out on Patreon if you haven't already. All right, you ready to get started?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you setting the stage for this? Okay, cool.
Unless you, interject.
I only have 2 bullet points, but you might have overlapping ones.
Okay, so we are in a bit of a crisis on our planet. A lot of scientists think that we are in a 6th mass extinction right now. A mass extinction event is when species are vanishing faster than they're replaced.
Sad.
Right. And I have some crazy numbers that truly, like, I have checked with our producer 3 or 4 times before we started filming, being like, are we sure this is correct? Because this seems insane.
Right, yeah.
Earth's normal extinction rates, or background rate of extinction, is thought to be between 0.1 and 1 species per 10,000 per 100 years, which translates very slow.
Yeah.
It is like 9 species per year.
Okay.
Very low.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the background rate of extinction. That's what's normal. We're currently losing. The estimation is very broad because we don't know how much we're losing.
Right.
But I've read a lot of sources, and we are currently losing between 30,000 and 100,000 species per year.
30,000 and 100,000?
30,000 to 100,000 species
insane.
Per year, when the normal extinction rate is about 9 per year. I'm telling you, this number has... I've checked
unrecoverable.
So many times, this has blown my mind all day.
Yeah.
I called 3 people on the way here to tell them this fact. I was just like, there's no way. This is insane.
It's so bad.
Yeah. It's been a long time now. Our planet has been seeing some massive changes, land use changes, climate change, invasive species, habitat loss, soil degradation, extreme weather, wildlife trafficking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And I want to point out why this is so important for people. And this is how I get people that don't care to start caring, is because when these species decline or become extinct, they do such a huge job for us. For example, vultures, they clean up carcasses that have rabies, anthrax, botulism, and those diseases don't spread. And if we didn't have vultures, like in Asia, population collapsed by 99% over 30 years, and feral dogs took over that niche of cleanup. Well, they got rabies. They started attacking people. The Indian government over there had to start paying out to save those people because of this, and cost the Indian government $1 billion a year to combat this, and they're still not over it. So that's taxpayer dollars going to fix something that wasn't broken in the first place. So we could save so much more money by doing that. I mean, it's estimated that anywhere between, you know, it was like $1 billion and $3 billion that vultures do in the United States just in cleanup. And that's if we had to hire cleanup crews to do what they do, to go around, collect roadkill, incinerate them. It's just absolutely crazy. We need to let our world work the way it is, and it's going to make our life a lot better and cheaper. We don't have to pay as many taxes. Debt sucks. Sorry, continue.
No, you're right. There's so many ecosystem services that animals do, not just for each other in the ecosystem, but also for us.
Yeah.
33% of amphibians are at risk of extinction right now. Tadpoles control mosquito populations because they eat a bunch of mosquitoes. Mosquito-borne illness, malaria kills 2.7 million people every year.
Jeez.
Like, they're saving our lives.
Yeah.
We need them desperately. And then they need each other.
Yeah.
We need all of them and they need each other. I've said this a few times on my platforms is I think of biodiversity, just the diversity of species in an ecosystem, as a plane wing. I think you've heard me talk about this before. It's like a plane wing, and every species is a screw in that wing. They all depend on each other. We can lose a screw here and there. It's going to compromise the wing's integrity.
Right.
You run into something, I don't know, you get turbulence, whatever. Like, it's just a little shakier.
Yeah.
But then eventually you're just going to lose enough screws where the wing falls off, and we all die.
Yep. True.
Biodiversity is so important. And this research has been shocking, truly. It freaks me out. And I'm a conservationist, and I know this stuff.
And it's a pretty new development.
Yeah.
Like, the stat I have from the 2022 Living Planet report showed that global wildlife populations have plummeted by 69% since 1970. Just 1970. Like, it's been going down since then. We have a graph to show that. But it's kind of leveled off a little bit, but it could... I mean, I think all the screws are out of the plane wing already. I'm surprised it's holding on as much as it is, but it's absolutely insane. And it happened to 54 years? Mm-hmm. And that's the data that we've been collecting since the 70s. What happened before then? But hey, if it's happened this quickly, maybe we can reverse it pretty quickly. No, probably. Yeah, why not? We can put all our hands together and get this done. I'm
Listeners, welcome to your first conservation existential crisis.
Yep.
This has happened to me a few times. The very first time it happened to me, I was on an island in Belize, and a local told me, well, make sure you enjoy it while you're here because in 50 years it'll be gone because of sea level rise. There are people living on it. There are animals living on it. I was just like, what do you mean this is happening in my lifetime?
Right.
Conservation is more important now than ever. We need it. Like Connor said, it's looking pretty abysmal, but we have a lot that we still can do. And so it's really important that more people know about it. So I'm excited to do this episode today because this podcast is based in conservation.
Right.
I mean, that's what it's for. And it's for getting people excited about nature and wildlife. And so this is one of the most important episodes we'll do, probably, because without wildlife, we don't have this podcast, and we also don't have our lives.
True. Very true.
All right. Shall I begin?
Yes, please.
Okay. It's not going to get less depressing.
Sad. No, I'll put a pot of spin here and there.
Okay.
We'll level out.
My first one is the Yangtze softshell turtle.
Okay.
Okay. This is the largest freshwater turtle in the world.
Largest.
Okay. Yeah. Adults measure over 39 inches and 39 by 28 inches. So 100 centimeters by 70 centimeters. It's huge.
That's over 3 feet.
Yeah. They're really big.
It's massive.
They can weigh from 150 to 220 pounds.
Ugh. That's as
Don't
much
say
as I am.
ugh.
No, that's as much as I am. I was just thinking about like carrying a turtle. I can't carry myself.
They're 70 to 100 kilograms. We'll pull up a picture so you can see a size reference. They're native to eastern and southern China and northern Vietnam.
That's massive. And to get that big, it probably takes them a long time to grow that big, right?
Yeah. Explain this picture. What do you think?
Give
me a size comparison, Connor. What is that size?
God, I don't even know. And the density of it. Help. I can't. I can't conceptualize that.
What is that? What is it? Something that's that size? Maybe like
a mini trampoline, I was thinking.
2/3 of a dishwasher from the bottom up.
It's heavier than a dishwasher. I don't know how to compare. It's huge.
It's big. It's a big turtle. So they're listed as critically endangered. Shocker. This episode is on World's Fewest. They are also functionally extinct, which just means it means a few things, but in this context, it means that the population is no longer viable. They're
the wild, right?
Yeah. So they're still individuals, but like it's over.
But they have them in captivity and they're working on a breeding program, right?
So I have a story, and do you like roller coasters?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. Okay. So
Are you about to put me on an emotional roller coaster?
yes.
Okay, I don't like those. I like physical ones.
I'm trying to keep it positive.
Thank you.
So they started getting wiped out from the damming of rivers, destruction of wetlands, overfishing, pollution, hunting for
Sad.
meat and eggs, use of shell and bones and alternative medicine, among just like habitat loss is how we're losing most of our species. In 2006, it was getting pretty serious. Okay, they're critically endangered.
Right.
The Turtle Survival Alliance, which is a U.S. nonprofit, sent a representative. His name was Gerald Kuchling, founder of the Turtle Conservancy in Australia. They sent him out to China to establish the sex of the last 3 giant soft-shell turtles in China.
Last 3? And that's when they sent... Okay.
This is when it got serious. There were 3 in captivity.
That's when it... Oh, in captivity.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They're in captivity.
Okay.
So
Not 3 in the wild. More in the wild, though. Okay. I'm sorry.
I will answer that shortly. Okay. So they sent him out to sex the turtles.
Okay.
That was in 2006.
Okay.
Or they had planned that in 2006. He landed in 2007. Okay.
Okay.
Because they planned a trip. I don't know.
On the New Year's?
I don't know. He landed in 2007. By the time he landed, 2 of them had died.
So they planned the trip in 2006.
He got there in 2007.
Jeez.
2 of them died in captivity.
Sad.
And there was 1 male that remained.
Okay.
Okay.
Sad.
So then the researchers sent in a request to every zoo in China,
okay,
hoping that there was a turtle in captivity that had been misidentified or the zoo didn't know what kind of turtle they had.
And please, hopefully they have one.
The Changsha Zoo sent a photograph in. Gerald traveled to the zoo, confirmed it was a Yangtze soft-shell turtle, and it was a female.
Let's go.
So now there's a male and a female in captivity. Huge.
That's awesome.
Huge. She's 80 years old. It's okay. It's okay. They can live over 100 years. He's older. So, like, yes, they're old, but
they
it's
have a genetic bottleneck.
There's still a male and a female. So they had to move her, which is risky. They had to move her to the male.
Right.
To breed them.
Of course, the woman had to go to the male. Why can the male come to the female?
Preach, Connor. They didn't... If these 2 didn't mate, the species is donezo. Mm-hmm. If they're, like, not into each other, like, the species... This is it. There's only 2 in captivity. Like, they're done. And they're not aware of any in the wild at this point.
Oh.
2 in captivity. So it's like their species is riding on these 2. They mated.
Okay, let's go.
In captivity. Only after a month of her being there.
Sick.
They mated. She laid 45 eggs.
Oh, my God.
Incredible.
Okay, emotional roller coaster. You got me.
None of them were viable.
Come on!
But then she laid again.
Okay.
And none of those were fertile.
Come on. Okay. This is... Stop!
But then...
Okay.
They both died.
Oh, Maya! Oh, my God.
But then...
I don't know.
But then...
I don't trust you.
But then they found 2 males and a female in the wild.
2 males, 1 female?
2 males, 1 female. They went out and found them in the wild. They found 2
males. But you're going to tell me they're going to die in 2 days?
And 1 female. But then, one of them died.
The male, 1 male, right?
The female.
Come on!
The last known female Yangtze soft-shell turtle died in April of 2023.
No.
Very, very, what is that, a year ago?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, of unknown causes in a lake in northern Vietnam. So the only 2 of these turtles that are known right now to exist are 2 males that are living in the wild.
But they harvested the egg embryos so they could... Okay. Maya's shaking her head no, audio listeners.
The only hope is that there are a few individuals in lakes and rivers in Vietnam or Laos. Females can lay 30 to 80 eggs at a time. If there's a female out there and she finds her way to the male and vice versa, and she lays eggs, it could save the species.
Right.
And they can lay more than 1 clutch per year. So a single breeding pair could bring the species back. But they need to figure out if there are turtles out there quickly so that they have protections and so that they can monitor them. Because right now, all we know is there's only 2 males left in the wild of this species.
I mean, you could probably put a tracking bounty on them with a lot of money. Probably do better than put some monetary value on their safety.
Yeah.
More so than on their medicinal or their traditional medicine.
Yeah. Hopefully, maybe. I have a really sad photo. Only because this is the turtle's face and he looks really sad to be going extinct.
It's so cute.
He's really cute. Audio listeners, he's got like a kind of like a pig snout, and is speckly and kind of like green and
Very tiny
black,
eyes.
kind of like camo head, and it looks like he's frowning.
It does.
They're really
Very
cute.
Yeah.
I also want to throw in though, even if there is, this is the end of the roller coaster, I swear. Even if there is a viable breeding pair in the wild, there's a female that we don't know about right now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the problems that turtles have right now, and this is a really unexpected consequence of climate change, is when turtles lay eggs, the eggs go through temperature-dependent sex determination.
Yeah.
Which means when they lay eggs, they don't have a sex until they're incubated. And if it's below 81 degrees Fahrenheit or 27 degrees Celsius, the turtle hatchlings are male. And if it's above 88 degrees Celsius or 88 degrees Fahrenheit or 31 degrees Celsius, the hatchlings will be female.
It's very narrow margin.
It's very narrow. So as climate change happens, if the sand is warmer, there's going to be more females.
Right.
Because females happen when the eggs are hotter. And so sex ratios of clutches can and are becoming skewed because the sands are warming. And that's how their sex is determined. So it's making even less viable populations, even if they bred and laid eggs.
Yeah, that does suck.
Yeah.
That really sucks. Yeah, I've known that for sea turtles. It's been a big thing.
Yeah, it's a huge problem for sea turtles.
Yeah.
A lot of sea turtles. Are all marine sea turtle species endangered? Did I make that up?
I don't think so. I know there's a few that are like pretty solid. Because I thought that too at one point.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. There's not many that are like doing well. I used to think like dolphins and stuff like that weren't doing well, but their populations as a whole are doing okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I told y'all this was going to be depressing.
That was an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
I don't have as much of an emotional roller coaster. But I have the most endangered big cat in the world.
Okay.
I hope I don't butcher this name.
We love butchering names.
I've
here.
only heard it in the British accent, but the Amur leopard. Amur. Trying not to sound country with that. So, so this is such a cute. Describe how cute they are for audio listeners.
Well, these are babies.
Yeah, I had to
and
start
they're
off strong.
soft and fluffy, and they look like a stuffed animal. Mm-hmm. And
The cute blue eyes.
it's a baby leopard. Y'all know what a baby leopard looks like. It's so cute.
So for our second diagram, it kind of shows the kind of, they're a little bit different, but they look pretty close like a leopard. They've got these pale bellies with a lot more tan above them. And that's there's a lot of other distinguishing features to show them that they're a little bit different from other leopards, but they're cool. They're meant for, more northern climates and stuff like that, but leopard. But I want to quickly, Maya, you kind of touched on this, the difference between a cheetah, jaguar, and a leopard.
I will
want to
say
simplify it.
cheetah is far easier to distinguish than leopard and jaguar. Cheetahs look so different.
And I chose, the diagram had it, so I figured I'd mention it, but it's like a nice little win. Like, okay, I know which one is there. So
cheetahs are real narrow and like skinny.
Cheetahs are in Africa. They're really chill. They're smaller and they're super fast. Cool. I'm keeping this simple too.
Great.
Leopards. They're in Asia and Africa. They shy away from water, but they can swim. They're pretty shy in general, just demeanor wise. They're smaller, but they have longer tails. And then you have jaguars. They're in South America, love water. They're more confrontational. They're larger and they have shorter tails. So jaguar, don't mess with. Leopard, you're probably fine. Don't approach it. Cheetah, you're fine.
You guys
Don't
probably
approach
aren't
it.
going to run into them, but if you see pictures too, part of what was just on screen is cheetahs have black spots and it is just like a solid dot. Leopards have black rings And then jaguars have black rings that sometimes have spots inside the rings.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
So these leopards, they weigh anywhere between 55 and 106 pounds, or 25 to 48 kilograms. Males are larger than females. They're really reclusive, and the only real way to track their population numbers is through camera traps. If you don't know what a camera trap is, that's just those hunting cameras that you see put up that have batteries in them, motion detection, snaps pictures when something walks in front of it. It's a big thing for researchers, and they're getting better. So in 2007, there were only 19 to 26 wild leopards estimated to be left in the wild.
It's not enough.
That is very small. But I have good news.
Okay.
In 2015, it went up to 60 because they started protecting significantly more land.
Wicked.
And then in 2019, it went up to 90.
Wicked.
And in 2021, it went up to 110.
Success. Huge success.
It's getting better, but it's hard to track them for a lot of socioeconomic, political, geopolitical issues because they live in, we have a map here, they live in southeastern Russia, northeastern China, and the Koreas, including a big part, North Korea. You can't really study much in North Korea. So there could be more there, or they could be hunted because I'll get to it a little bit. They're prized in the wildlife trade.
For sure.
Their pelts.
Pelts, yeah.
Yeah.
That's tragic.
So, and North Korea doesn't have great economy, so they'll try to get whatever they can. So they're very well adapted to cold climates and heavy snowfall. They love the mountains. What's crazy about them just as an individual is actually what you know about these big cats. What kind of territory size do you think?
Oh my gosh. In what? Like square miles?
Sure. Or hectares if you're into
Okay,
that.
in hectares?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 120 hectares.
Not even close.
What is a hectare? Like 3 football fields?
I don't even remember, to be honest. That's a good question. What do you think in square miles?
170.
Okay. That's a good guess.
Thank you.
Okay. So their territories range in between 19 square miles
Okay.
to 116 square miles.
Okay.
So and they cover that pretty fast.
Yeah.
For the people that understand hectares, which I don't, 5,000 to 30,000
Oh
hectares.
my gosh, a hectare is 2.4. Yeah,
That's
a hectare
close,
is 3
yeah.
football fields. I'm a genius, but I did have made a
2.5,
terrible
yeah.
guess.
2.5 acres, 2.5 football fields.
Oh my God.
Wait, football field's an acre? Okay. Yeah. That's good to know. That's a really good way to
I don't
size
think
that
a
up.
football field is an acre.
And that's kind of what the producer just kind of showed us.
This is
wrong here.
unimportant.
Okay. Sorry. So they love to hunt ungulates.
Yeah.
They love to, so if you're not
Connor
familiar
loves
with
the word
ungulate.
ungulate, yeah.
Oh, it's such a good word. It's basically hoofed animals, deer, elk, hoof stock, as well as they'll also eat wild boars, hares, badgers, fowl, and mice. There's been some good relationships between Sitka deer farmers and the leopards. The leopards get an easy meal for their cubs, and they hang around, and then they're able to generate money through the loss of deers through photography
I see.
and wildlife tourism, which is a new development because podcasts like this, National Geographic, stuff like that, get people to care. So then they go out to these locations to support these people that are affected by these leopards that would otherwise shoot them to protect their livelihood. But now they're able to generate more money through this type of ecotourism. It's huge. And it's one of, I think, the biggest ways that we can combat these wildlife-human conflicts.
Not all ecotourism is good, though.
Right.
You got to be careful where you go, and you got to do your research before you go. But that's a topic for a whole other podcast.
Right. Some really good ecotourism has brought species back from the brink, which is absolutely amazing. So, yeah, that's a whole other rabbit hole. So, why are these big cats the most endangered? Like, what is happening to them? So, what do you think the broad answer is?
Habitat loss.
Humans, yeah.
Right.
Humans is huge. So one of the big things is poaching for their pelts or their skins. China didn't start confiscating any skins sold until 2002.
Wow.
Yeah, like they were just like, oh, whatever, because that was where a lot of the skins were coming from. They were coming from Russia past the border, and so they finally started confiscating them. The issue with that is prices soar now that you create a supply.
People want
bottleneck.
it more if it's harder to get. Huh?
So, I couldn't find new numbers for it, but in 1999, a pelt could go for $500 to $1,000. It is significantly. It's jumped up significantly since then. By the way, inflation since 1999 has almost doubled, so that's about $1,000 to $2,000, which is crazy. The other thing is forest degradation. So a lot of wildfires, because the people out there will set fires to clear the land, and it just kind of runs out of control.
Right.
Logging, farming, of course, developments of pipelines, roads cause fragmentation of these populations. And the other thing is there's a lot of issues with inbreeding too, because
there's not enough of them.
Yeah, there's not enough of them, and they take up a large area. A single leopard could take up 116 square miles.
Yeah.
So that's pretty sad. But there's some good news.
Yay.
So the Global Species Management Program currently has 220 of these leopards in captivity.
Wahoo.
And they're releasing them. And they were having success when they released 3 back into Russia. But it's been stopped now because of the war in Ukraine. So, yeah, that's just getting in the way of good conservation. But, yeah, they're good news. They're on the increase.
Yeah.
We're figuring it out. Just protecting the land is huge for them.
Right.
And we have a really good shot of releasing them back in the wild because we're getting really good at releasing big cats, like starting to figure that system out. So this breeding program's starting to work, and the people that were kind of against it for like the zoos are now starting to change because they're seeing, oh, these animals are actually starting to get released. You're not just saying you're keeping them to breed for a release, you're actually doing it. So it's absolutely huge in every way.
Not to go on too much of a tangent and also not to put you on the spot, but I think that this is important to talk about, and I think you can probably speak well to it. Bringing species back from the brink is possible and has happened a lot of times.
Yeah.
And one of the most notable things, and one of the things that Connor knows a lot about, is the bald eagle.
Yeah.
Can you tell them about what happened there and why conservation efforts are important?
Yeah, so I worked at the American Eagle Foundation for quite a while. I was there towards the tail end of all the breeding programs, but I dealt with all the legacy, and we did a lot of that still because we were helping repopulate local bald eagle populations. But you just have to, it's really understanding the species so well that you can replicate all their needs in captivity, which takes a lot of money. And then you do that, you monitor them, you pair them right, they're able to produce offspring, and then the offspring, you have to replicate as well as you can the wild settings and their everything they have to go through to learn to go out into the wild. So for the bald eagles, it was a hack tower, 2 stories tall. These birds were put away. They were taken from they were removed from their parents at like 10 weeks old, and then they learned how to become bald eagles through instinct. And then we would release them, track them, and keep up with it. But it took 30 years of a ton of organizations doing that.
For reference and some numbers, in 1963, there were 417 nesting pairs. 417 pairs of bald eagles in 1963, and today there's 71,400 nesting pairs.
Great.
And 316,000 individuals.
That's that we know of. They've gotten
that we know of. It's an incredible recovery, and it was done through captive breeding efforts.
You can have the best breeding program in the world, but if they don't have a protected place to go and do their own breeding and get that system going, then it's really tough to have a successful conservation program like that. So it's a huge effort, and I think like for these leopards, they're protecting the land very well, and then they're releasing as well. So they don't have to keep this program going forever. they could probably stop in, 20 years and the population will be just fine.
They don't have to do that for bald eagles anymore.
Nope.
Bald eagles are doing fine.
That's actually
now.
not allowed anymore.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing great now. So
Yeah,
very
great.
cool. I have some rapid fire quiz questions for you.
Okay. I'm not very good at quizzes, but I'm happy to do it.
They're all percentages. What percentage of evaluated, I say evaluated as in like we've studied their population and IUCN has given them a classification of their population. What percent of evaluated amphibian species are threatened with extinction?
Didn't you say 33% already?
It's 40.7%. So I misspoke at the beginning. I don't know if I've been saying 33 in my education programs, but I got 40.7 today. So maybe it's increased.
It can, but also it depends on the source that you go with.
Right. Yeah.
Research is kind of hard to.
This stuff is hard to know.
Yeah.
Take all these numbers with a grain of salt. What percentage of evaluated marine mammal species are threatened with extinction?
I got to go like 60.
33.
Oh, okay. Not as bad as I thought.
Reptiles.
That's hard for them to track. So of evaluated. Okay. 25.
20.
Okay.
Birds.
1 billion birds are killed by house cats every year in the U.S., right? Just U.S.?
I think it's in the U.S.
Yeah. Let's go 32.5%.
This one's only 13.
Nice.
But 50% of bird species are in decline.
That's
but
a good
the
number
13
to put on, yeah.
is threatened with extinction.
Okay.
13% of bird species are threatened with
Still
extinction.
a lot. There's a lot of species.
Yeah. Fish.
Oh, they're so hard to, I don't know. That's 8.
21%.
Oh my God. Okay.
Primates.
Oh. 69% bonobos. Let's go.
50.
Wow.
50% of primate species are threatened with extinction.
That's crazy.
It's time for Planet of the Apes.
Okay. Well,
Fine with me.
Caesar, sure.
Plants. What
That's
percentage of
tough.
evaluated plant species are threatened with extinction? People don't think about plants.
5%?
68%.
Huh?
68% of plant species are threatened with extinction.
Sorry, audio listeners.
I just wanted to
just
do
yelled.
like a quick little quiz to give you guys a little more of like a, oh my God, like this is crazy. The lowest number in here is 13%.
Birds.
Birds of all those species, and 50% of them are in decline. This is like really overwhelming.
So we got to talk about plants more at Alveus.
Yeah, we do. I wish I knew
That's
more about plants.
crazy.
We should do a plant episode. Most planty.
Okay.
World's plantiest.
Plantius? I like it. Okay. I don't know much about plants, but I'm learning more about them.
Yeah. Someday.
I just know they do photosynthesis and they're great for carbon.
That was it. I just
absorption.
wanted to do that little quiz.
That was huge. Okay.
Speaking of quiz.
Okay.
Okay. Here's your guys' question. The longest living vertebrae on Earth is
Vertebrate?
vertebrae.
Vertebrate. Oh no. The longest living vertebrate on Earth. Vertebrate on Earth. Aldabra tortoise.
Incorrect.
Greenland shark.
That is correct.
Let's go!
Oh!
Oh my God.
There is one individual that's thought to be around 400 years old.
That's so old. What, am I tied with Maya now
I'm devastated.
on points? I can't remember.
You might be winning.
I might be winning.
Devastating.
Okay.
If you guys like the quiz portion of this podcast, our Patreon bonus episode for this week that's exclusive to Patreon is just a giant quiz episode where Connor and I are going head to head in trivia.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It'll be really fun. All right. Your turn.
All right. This one's a little sad, but then the U.S. Navy comes in and just destroys in a good way.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just Navy SEALs just taking down not that crazy.
Okay.
But like kind of. So stay till the end here. So the Vaquita porpoise. Are you familiar with them? Because you're from California.
Yeah.
So they live in the Gulf of California. It's called the the Sea of Cortez. Yeah, Gulf of California, Upper Gulf of California. They're the world's smallest porpoise, and they're the rarest marine mammal. How many are left in the wild? You know. Give a guess.
21.
10.
That's worse than 21.
They are so cute. Describe what they look like.
They're so cute. It has the body of a dolphin, like when you think of a bottlenose dolphin, but its head is compressed like a pug.
Yeah, it doesn't have that long snout.
So cute.
They're often called the pandas of the sea because they've got like the dark circles around their eyes.
Some eyeliner slaying.
They're actually adorable. So they're around 4.6 to 4.9 feet big. So 1.4 to 1.5 meters. They weigh up to 120 pounds, which is a lot for being in such a small body, or 54 kilograms. So they have the smallest range of any whale, dolphin, or porpoise. They eat a lot of fish, crustaceans, and squid. They live to be about 20 years old. They're sexually mature after 3 to 6 years of age. One male will mate with multiple females.
Classic.
And here is the fun tidbit about the males. So the males have huge testicles or testes. Huge. It's 4 to 5% of their body weight. So to equate that to a 200-pound human, producer, please bring up the wonderful picture to show it.
You're not gonna bring up what? A picture of what?
So it'd be the size, if it was in people, it'd be the size of a gallon of milk. And we have a picture of Shaq drinking a gallon of milk. That is if it was on people, if our testes were 4 to 5% of our body.
I really thought you were about to like okay, this is fine. It's a picture of Shaq on Hot Ones drinking a gallon of milk. So you're saying the gallon of milk would be the size
of a human's testicles if it was equivalent to the Vaquitas.
I'm sorry, Shaq. This is weird. Okay.
So absolutely insane. So that's a cool little fact about them. So, okay. Besides that, moving on to the conservation side of things.
Okay.
What do you think's killing them? Are you familiar with the Vaquita story?
Entanglement?
Yeah. So gill nets. Gill nets are nasty. Are you familiar with gill nets? Are you able to describe?
Are they just like giant throw-out nets?
They are with very tiny
holes.
Yeah, like it's the spacing between the threads are very, very small. So the fish can get their gills caught in it and they die, they suffocate because they can't move and keep the oxygen exchange going and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So gill nets, they catch so much bycatch.
Right.
It is insane.
Bycatch meaning things that they're not intending on catching.
Right. And there's a certain, like I learned about like shrimp and stuff like that. There's a certain allowed amount of bycatch. For you to be able to sell in the U.S. This is good. It needs to start getting to be less. So we need to put pressure on our politicians for that. But no, it's that part's getting better. So what these gill nets are targeting are the I'm saying this so bad. Totoaba for their swim bladders. They're sold in the
audio listeners. He turned into a baby.
It's a type of fish that has a unique swim bladder for traditional medicine, and that is what they're targeting.
I see.
So the poachers could get up to $46,000 for 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds of the swim bladder. So they can make $100K a day.
Yeah.
Just by putting gill nets. Yeah. So the economy is there. So you can see, audio listeners, we've got pictures of the swim bladders, and
it looks like a bunch of potato chips on a string.
Yeah. Used in traditional medicine. Traditional medicine drives a lot of conservation issues. It sucks. So in 1997, the population size of the Vaquita was 567. Now there's only 10 of them. They declined that fast, that hard, because the market for those swim bladders has just shot up. So the sad part is they get stuck in these gill nets, and they're porpoises. They're mammals. They need oxygen. So they just drowned. They just can't come to the surface.
That's so sad.
It's so sad. And they're small, so they can't overpower the gill nets to keep swimming with them.
That's so sad.
It really sucks. So in 2017, Mexico put an exclusion zone for where you cannot put gill nets. But that doesn't really work unless you really enforce it, and they're struggling to enforce it.
Right.
There's a lot of issues with that. So in 2002, the U.S. Navy stepped up, and they started targeting the gill nets. they put out these huge concrete blocks with rebar hooks on them, and they
Yeah.
would drop them in the exclusion zones. And these specific blocks that the producer is going to pull up is they just rip apart the gill nets. And
Yeah.
these gill nets, they saw an immediate response to poaching, significantly reduced.
Because why would they put their net in there? Because it's gonna get all ruined.
And gill nets are tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
They're expensive, so they don't want to ruin it. So they've worked. It's worked very, very well since 2022. They are putting more and more out every year, and the U.S. Navy is also helping patrol and keep people away because there's only 10 left. And I love that my taxpayer dollars is going to help protect the Vaquita. It is
God
wonderful.
bless America.
And the last thing that they're doing to help protect the Vaquita is they're starting to have exclusion zones for farmers using certain pesticides along the coastline. Toxins are killing them as well. They found that happening quite a bit. So they're reducing how much pesticides and whatnot in a specific mile radius. So that's been great. And the good news, since May of 2023, their population has stabilized.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing.
From 2021 to 2023. So since 2021, they've actually stabilized since then.
That's a
So-
great end story, Connor.
That's wonderful. So they have a
Excellent.
chance. We have to keep protecting them, but they have a chance.
All we need is some big concrete blocks, guys.
Oh, the sea shepherds
And
out
then
there
we're good
just,
to go.
I don't if you guys are familiar with sea shepherd, they're out there just taking after poachers.
Wicked.
So look them up on YouTube. They're kind of cool what they do.
Okay, that was an excellent segue because the last thing that I wanted to mention is just like some things that they can do to
love
give
that.
them some hope.
Okay.
So that we're not leaving them in an existential crisis that I'm sure you guys have spiraled into. I don't know about you all, but I did. Things you can do to help the planet, to help save species, even if you're not a field biologist out there collecting research and hunting poachers yourself. One of the big things that I say all the time on my stream is consuming less beef is actually a huge way to help the environment.
Right.
Beef emissions are crazy high because cows produce methane, and not just in America, in lots of other places, we're taking down a ton of habitat so that we can make room for cattle ranches. And it's affecting a lot of species across the planet. If you don't know where to start, eating less beef is a great place to start. Eating less animal products in general is a great place to start. There's also small things that you can do, like reusing more things, consuming less things. Whatever you have currently, using it for as long as you can.
Yep.
Instead of buying, we have a big problem with consumerism and purchasing too much, using disposable products.
Conservation isn't just about animals. It's about using less.
It's about using less. And then also supporting conservation organizations that are doing the work. We don't all know how to lobby and how to get big businesses to
Right.
put out less emissions. But there are conservation organizations that really focus on that. I love Rainforest Alliance. I love World Wildlife Fund. I love Whale and Dolphin Conservation. I love Bat Conservation International. I love Alvea Sanctuary. There's so many that I'm not naming, but there's so many organizations out there that are doing that work. And you can support them, and they're going to do this work, and you don't have to know how to do it yourself.
That's true. Look for corporate matching. Like if, like Google, if you work at Google or any of these big corporate places, they'll do a lot of corporate matching.
Yeah.
So your dollar can go a lot further as well. And I would say if you're going to travel really anywhere, look for ecotourism. Do your research ahead of time. Make sure that it's a responsible ecotourist place. There's a lot of certifications out there that you can look at for that and support those local places. And a lot of times your $5 goes a lot further there than maybe back home. So just any little thing helps for those local populations.
And if money is a restriction, donating is awesome to conservation organizations, but if you're not in the position to do that, following them on social media and sharing their messaging is very, very important as well, and goes a long way. So there's a lot of stuff that all of us can do. I hope you guys are not too depressed. I hope you're a little bit inspired. Again, this podcast is about conservation and is about our planet. We both love nature and wildlife, and we just want it to persist. So
Yeah, we need to stop losing species so we can find more world's wildest.
yeah, guys, if everything dies, like, what are we going to talk about?
I don't know.
That would suck
it
for
would.
us.
Cool.
Thank you,
Existential
guys.
crisis.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you for liking and subscribing and leaving 5-star reviews on your
Yeah.
audio platforms, and for subbing to the Patreon. We're going to go record some Patreon content. We'll see you over there.
See you soon.